So the very last time I flew this plane, it had been put away in storage for quite some time, so I wasn't all that used to it. And I got this really horrible tip stall that came out of the blue. And the plane is a little unpredictable in that way, but not as bad as it was on that day. So I was a little surprised, but then I remembered in hindsight that I didn't fly with my GPS tracker in the plane on that day. And the tracker usually rests up front, so logic would have it, it was a little tail heavy maybe on that day. So I'm gonna do a quick CG check now. So no wind, but also no sun. And I can actually tell my servos are a little sluggish, but everything seems to work fine. Let's go. Yeah, so that icy wind from earlier today, it returned while I was in the air and I was really getting kicked around at the end. I thought I might maybe do a little kind of a post-flight summary with some of my thoughts about the area, but first I'm gonna have to pick up my plane, get into the car and kind of thaw out my fingers because they are really frozen by now. Hey, so I'm down at the airfield on the frozen lake for just a quick little flight after work. We are in the end of February, so the ice behind me is still super thick. It's safe to walk on it, and you could probably even drive a car on it, so no sweat there. And the guys from the local flying club, they're doing a great job running the tractor to keep the airstrip clear of snow, so it's a really good resource. I just wish I had more time to use it. Now, the weather today has been really crazy. It was 19 below 0 Celsius today and a really hefty wind, so I didn't imagine I would be able to go fly. But the forecast said at 4 o'clock in the afternoon it was gonna calm down, and it seems like it has done just that. Let's see how it is a little further up into the air. Here in Norway, it's not that uncommon to see model flying clubs using a frozen lake as a winter airstrip. And I remember when I was just starting out with FPV, I got some good advice from people saying, don't start out your FPV career out on the ice. It's going to be really hard to orient yourself, and I think they were right. I mean, this area is not so bad because there's so many landmarks immediately around, so you can sort of gauge where you're at least if you have a clear image. But I was told quite a few people have been on expeditions because they're flying out on the ice, and it's all just a white blanket. Usually when I'm in this area flying FPV and the sun is out, it's really easy to tell exactly where the airstrip starts and ends. But today it was kind of hard to see. It just all became sort of this whitish blue color of the area. So that's something to think about if you're ever in that situation. Now, one thing that is really great about flying on a frozen lake is that if you have an altimeter on your plane, which I do, and you put your airplane at, let's say, 100 meters, then you know you're 100 meters above ground no matter where you're at, because obviously the terrain isn't changing, it's perfectly flat. So today has been really windy and cold, and I got this little gap right around 4 o'clock when there was no wind. The forecast said so, and this time it was perfectly spot on. So I got a little window for my flight that I can just squeeze in without a whole bunch of wind. But as the flight was coming to an end, the gusts were really picking up, and the plane was kind of getting kicked around, and I can really feel that sort of looking through my goggles. On this airplane, I don't have a pitot tube, so I don't have a airspeed reading, but I do have a ground speed reading, which is read off of GPS. So what I tried to do is fly with the wind and then against the wind with the same throttle setting, and I can see that in my goggles that I'm at the exact same throttle setting. And the difference was something, I'll have to look it up later when I look at the DVR footage from the goggles, but I think the difference was like 25 or 30 kilometers an hour difference with the same throttle going with the wind and against the wind, telling me that at 90 meters or whatever I was flying at, I had 30 kilometers an hour wind, which is quite a bit. That's around 20 miles an hour, so it's definitely something. Even if the ice here is super thick, I think where I'm standing now is like a meter thick or something. There was actually kind of a gap in the ice in the middle, and someone was here flying the other day and they were filming a moose kind of crossing the ice, and someone said they had been here on another day. They didn't catch it on camera, but the moose had actually fallen into the water, or maybe even jumped into it on purpose to kind of cross it. They're very confident sometimes, and they managed to kind of swim across and climb out. And you can definitely see that gorge in the ice on my footage as I run it here now. But anyway, I had no plans of ditching close to that for sure. But I mean, there's always a chance of something going wrong, I guess. So anyway, I tried to sort of fly along the edges of this area. So if the plane should go down, it would be much easier to get closer with a car and then walk on foot to kind of search for it. And if that should happen, I would be using the GPS coordinates in my goggles. Obviously, they will turn bad when the plane sort of approaches the ground. But for a while I will have good coordinates, so then usually you kind of go to Google Maps and you go to the last known coordinate that you know. And of course the plane wouldn't fall straight down from that coordinate anyway, because there's a glide curve at hand, usually at least. And then also I have a GPS tracker from Trakimo situated in the airplane, and I have an app on my phone and I can quite accurately sort of see where it's at. When I just arrived here, I kind of ran a search on the tracker to make sure everything was working correctly, and it's kind of funny because all the map told me was that okay, you're in the middle of this blue thing, so it's not as bulletproof as if you crash like on a field or something where you can sort of see houses in the area and you sort of gauge the angles of the edge of the field and stuff. But nonetheless, I have kind of two safety mechanisms to get the plane back. All in all, it's really good fun. Thank you for watching my videos. If you do like my videos, subscriptions are always a good thing for the creator. I would be really happy to see you hit that subscribe button if you do enjoy my videos. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.